Hi, everyone. Thanks for being patient while we get settled up here. I come with a lot of baggage, you can see. I'm very excited to come and talk to you today, and especially excited to be up here with this panel of people within the community. This is a patient-driven project, and it's called Resource Connect. Some of you more seasoned members of the community might recognize it. Recognize it as the old Traveling Resource Center from years ago, especially from the 2007 symposium. We've put together a wonderful committee made up of myself and Kristi Gonzales, Hope Newport, the Family Services Manager, and Brian Harwell, who is in California. And today's presentation is kind of a little different. It's really more of a discussion group. I want to hear lots and lots of information from everyone in the community. So we're going to first start out and talk about some of the importance of using tools and how that impacts emotional and physical freedom. We're then going to move on to some panel presentations and sharing with community members. We'll be sharing what tools work for you specifically, gain insight on the community and plans to build the Resource Connect. Hope is going to come up and join us for that. And then we're also going to have some demonstrations. As Michelle already mentioned, on the 4th floor, we have all of these tools plus some, and I just have to give you an idea that probably all of these collectively are about 1/100th of the tools that are used within the FOP community. So fun to see how we gather them over time. So I've always been kind of a pet peeve of my pet peeve has been, I've never wanted FOP to take more from my child than it absolutely forced its way to do. So and one of the ways I could combat that was developing tools and gadgets within my home adaptions, all sorts of things that increased my child's mobility once there was a limitation. So over time, I've also realized that building this independence, even on very small tasks, builds to happiness and self-reliance and unbelievable self-advocacy, which then leads to empowerment. So in order to do that, you have to be in problem-solving mode. Our family is constantly in problem-solving mode. And I'd just like to share one short story. The first tool that was ever built in our house was Ian came home from kindergarten, and he said, "I hate school. I absolutely hate school." When we said, "Why do you hate school?" And his arm was locked here, and he said, "Because the teacher never calls on me." So the next morning, Ian wakes up, and in the kitchen, my husband had stayed up and put a plastic sword with a paper sign that said, "Pick me." And Ian went to school very proud with his Pick Me sword. And of course, every other child wanted the Pick Me sword, which was a little bit of a problem. But we solved it. It was just a tiny little problem, and we solved it. So I wish all of life's challenges were that easy, but being in the problem-solving mode certainly helps. Another thing I think is very important is to always give attention and validity to both the emotional and the physical challenges that are going on. I always feel that the physical challenge creates itself, and then if we get into solution mode, we might solve that physical limitation, whether it's new or old. But then we have to emotionally maybe catch up a little bit. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So then I have small tasks of independence add up to the health and well-being for both the person with FOP and the caregiver. Everybody wins. Everybody wins in the family with this kind of solutions and problem solving for small tasks. So to give you some examples, not from our lives, but from the community, I've asked Kristi Gonzales and Jasmin Floyd and Emma Albee to come together. And I feel very honored to be part of these community members in bringing this information to you. I've asked the panel members to kind of, in their own way, share their experiences. Some of them have brought tools to share with you. Talk a little bit about their thoughts of managing and independence, the emotional journey perhaps with it, and just kind of their ideas. So Kristi, you can start first? Okay, so I have to introduce you. So Kristi is mom of AJ. She's vice chairman of the IFOPA. She's worked closely on the FOP Mothers Retreat. She's senior executive administrator of compliance, a compliance director for an insurance brokerage firm. You need insurance, you go see Kristi. And she's also, unbelievable, her and her family been running this kids fun zone that all the children are missing their clinical appointments to go to that. I'm taking notes, Kristi. And next to Kristi is Jasmin Floyd. And Jasmin is known in the community as an avid traveler. You never quite know what coast she'll be blogging from. She's an avid blogger. She's been our CNN community representative with feature pieces by CNN. Jasmin has been involved with FOP and fundraising since I can remember. She's been to many, many family events since childhood. And Emma Albee, I've also known you since you were little, but Emma has been involved with the IFOPA ever since the age of 9. She works at the Acadia National Park, managing research in the park. Basically, nothing gets past Emma at Acadia National Park. Emma is also a successful and a stout artist that produces beautiful hand artwork of cards. So she's a little modest about it, but you really need to just ask her to show you on her phone. And we're really lucky to have all these panel members. So I'm going to turn it over to Kristi first, and then they'll just go down the line, if that's okay.
Hi, everybody. So I'm here just to talk a little bit about our experience with our son and more of a pediatric-driven use of tools. So I guess probably about 2 years ago, AJ became a little bit more limited, and we were going to hook up this Alexa system to do everything for him. And somebody said to me, if you don't allow him to do it on his own, he will never learn. So we took that as a bit of advice, and we have really, it has changed our lives. So we taught AJ how to use a dressing stick so he can take on and off his shirt. You can follow his Facebook video of him learning how to do it and the excitement and the pure joy. He has learned how to use a grabber. And on the other side of our grabber is just this little hook. And he has learned how to turn on and turn off the light himself, which is huge. It's used for his room. It's used to use the bathroom. It's amazing. We also have a boppy, which we're not allowed to call boppy because we are not a baby. So we had a very cool cover made for a superhero. And we use this for travel. We use this for sitting. We use it for sleeping. We also have, as you can see down here, AJ has a pick-me stick for school. We use a slanted desk. We use a special cushion chair. We've created this All About AJ book for the school system. And inside this book is a start of a story about AJ, asking the school system to basically come and join his journey. I've learned that if I continue to attack them like I would like to. But if I make them feel that they're included and that we're all in this together, it has been really, really different experience. We also include in that book the FOP facts and brief, the school guidelines on the IFOPA website, and we give all of our FOP specialist information, including emails, and we invite them to reach out if they have a question that we're not answering for them, or maybe they're not comfortable asking us. So we are in the process of, and somebody had asked me a little bit ago, do we use tools? And I was like, no. And then I thought, well, we do. We use a special Kennedy cup that you can get off Amazon that is spill-proof. We use straws, and as everybody knows, you can't get a plastic straw anymore. So we're using metal and rubber. We do use a plate with a small lift to help him be more independent and keep the food on his plate. We have a medical alert ID bracelet that we get from Road ID. We do use a spirometer. We're going to try the whistle. I'm not sure how that's going to go in our household. If your child is in the fun zone, you will see there's blue mats. Those we got donated from the Goodwill store in Belmar, and they are free for anybody to take who's driven. But we have one of those under AJ's bed in case he would happen to maybe fall coming off the bed. We are working on toileting right now. It is not proven to be easy. But he is desperate to be able to handle himself alone in the bathroom and have privacy. We do have an elevated bed and a sleeping wedge, and we are working on an adaptive jacket. We're having a hard time getting his arms back for the jacket to come up, so we've had somebody slice it in half and put a zipper on the back of it, and so discreetly that nobody even knows. I can say that the independence and gratification that AJ has received doing these things on his own has made a world of difference. It hasn't been easy teaching him, but when he accomplishes the goal, it is phenomenal. I think that we have learned that AJ is so much more than his diagnosis, and allowing him to be as independent as possible will only help us on the road. Thank you. Which ones? So Alexis and Hope and I came up with the schedule for the Kid Zone. And we've come up with some amazing, amazing activities that your kids are doing. So for example, today they made stress balls out of balloons and flour. They are making now, once the third 5-pound bowl of rice is delivered. I don't know how we're going through so much, but they're making their own out of socks. They're putting rice, and they can be heated or put in a refrigerator for pain. They have made, what else have they made, Hope?
They're doing the Try a Tool challenge.
Yes.
Testing out reachers and grabbers and building cup towers with the reacher, so it'll give them practice with that. We're using the curlers that you guys will learn more about to do a picture.
Lots of slime, we apologize. Fake snow, gack, but we're trying to incorporate, and Hope, I'm sure we'll speak about this more, things that they can use dealing with their everyday lives. We created the Find It with the water bottle, with the rice inside, with 10 things inside for them to take to the doctors. So everything this weekend has really been based on just sending them forward, having those items, and being able to use them. Okay, thank you. We use an old-fashioned dressing stick. This is just what we came across, but AJ can actually take his shirt on and off with this, and it has a small hook here, and he's able to pull up his underwear and his pants himself. So, AJ, do you want to show how you take your shirt off? Woo!
Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmin. I think that the most important thing for me with my independence through the years, especially the last 5 years, has been traveling by myself. So, like, having to find tools that will help me in that aspect and be able to be independent and feel like I can handle things by myself has been, like, extremely helpful for me, and feeling confident and just, like, empowered to be able to actually figure things out for myself and not be held back by any of my limitations. So my first flight was actually when I was 19 in 2012. It was to Florida for 3 weeks to meet someone I met online that we'd never met in person. And so we just, like, planned it, and our moms talked, and we just really, really wanted to go to Disney World. And it was my birthday trip. So, but that, I think since then, like, that really changed everything for me, and just my aspirations to really want to travel and have new experiences and just, like, see the world and just, make memories and have fun. That's really, like, it's been amazing for my growth as an individual, and being able to just, like, be myself and be away from just, like, the comfort of my home, where I'm just, you get used to a certain routine, and it just might not be helping if it's the same every year. So I know with the flare-ups I've had through the years, being, like, isolated at home it's not having your friends near you. Like, I don't have, like, a core group of close friends that live nearby. So I think that being able to have the opportunities to travel has been just incredible for me. And so I brought some tools, and I think the most important is actually the smallest one that I got when my flight got delayed and I had to stay in a hotel. They gave a little, like, overnight thing. So this is just, like, a little mini travel brush, and it has, like, a comb on the end. So this has given me so much independence. Yeah, it's given me so much independence because I can't put my hair behind my ear. And
I'm sorry, it's black on black, so you don't see it.
oh,
All right, Lucy, you gotta be difficult.
so it's just like it's a brush, but for me, not being able to reach my arms, like, I can't even reach my left arm, but my right arm just goes this far. So, like, I think as a female, like, when my hair is in my face, or just I'm walking and I just feel so uncomfortable and very insecure about, like, I don't want to ask, you don't want to ask someone to put your hair behind your ear, like, especially if you don't know them. So I think, like, having that little tool, it fits in my wallet, and having it when I travel and when I'm going to concerts or going anywhere really, and just being able to use it to fix my hair, to brush it just behind my ear, that's been really helpful. So I've only had that for, like, maybe a year and a half, so that's definitely something I have kept with me now. And the other thing is this little, like, scratcher, and this actually, like, it says orientaltrading.com, so I don't know where these from. We got them, yeah. So I don't know where we got them, but we got a lot of them. So they're really, like, they're in every room of the house. And so I use them, well, it's, like, obviously like a back scratcher, but also, like, to get my hair out of, like, when it's in my shirt, like, it's, like, gets my hair out, and also to put it behind my ear. And then also, I actually was using it in the hotel room because I can't reach the thermostat. So actually, I think I was using this. This is my travel reacher. So I was using this end of it to just click the button because I can't reach it. And this is also a magnet, so it picks up anything that's magnetic, which is amazing. Bobby pins, like safety pins, whatever. So, and I use this to get dressed as well as to reach things. I can put this end with my shirt, and it, like, helps me get my shirt off. And then I have this brush that I actually won at the FOP symposium, and it's getting kind of old, but so the rest of it broke, so this was attached, it was custom, and it was attached to something else. And my dad actually created this part of a PVC pipe, and he was able to bend it with a heat tool, whatever he used to bend that, and then he filled it with the foam stuff so it doesn't get water inside. And then it's like he measured it to make sure it was the perfect angle, because so I can reach perfectly behind my head. I actually can use this to get my hair out of my shirt as well. And then this final tool, actually my OT from elementary school made this from a baton. And this is the one before I lost more mobility. This was the angle that worked better. So you can see the difference of the angles, but I probably had since I was 6, and it stayed with me since then. I don't use this anymore, but I wanted to bring it. It was extremely helpful for me as a kid, because bringing it places, I went to summer camp, and it just made me feel not abnormal. It's purple, and it doesn't really look like a tool. It's just a brush. So, the other campers were just accepting of that. So that was definitely one of the things that helped me feel just, like anyone else. And all of these tools have really helped me through the years just maintain a sense of independence and knowing that I really can do anything if I figure out just a way to do it. So thank you.
So I was diagnosed when I was 9 years old, and ever since then, me and my parents have been problem solvers, coming up with solutions for the various problems that I've come into. And so we find a problem and we just figure out a way to solve it. And so a lot of times it's not necessarily an adaptive tool per se, but so one thing I use is a Clarisonic face brush. So I can't reach my hands up to use a cloth to wipe my face, but I can reach close enough to use this, and so that way I can wash my face all by myself. I don't need help, and it gets my face clean. Another thing I use is a snoozle sheet. And so Helen Bedford Gay suggested this on the support group for FOP on Facebook. And so I have a hard time getting in bed in high beds, and so a lot of times in hotels, the beds are really high. And so it's like a silk cylinder. So if you lay it on the bed and you get on it, you can slide around You can slide around to position yourself in bed better, so you're not on the edge like you're gonna fall out of bed. So another thing I use is an Apple Watch, which is on my wrist. And so that has a fall prevention, or so if I was to fall, I haven't used it, and hopefully I never will, but I have it so if you fall, it will alert you that you've fallen, and then it can call the emergency contact that's set up in your cell phone. And so it will do that automatically if you fall and you don't move within a minute. So that's something that's helpful. I have a phone holder on my wheelchair back here. And so I got that on Amazon. It's actually for bikes. So it fits over the handlebar of a bike, but it fits over behind my armrest of my wheelchair, and I can put my phone in it, and so I can reach my phone because I can't put my phone in my pocket. At home, I use a Nork when I eat sometimes. So are you guys familiar with Norks? So it's kind of like a spork. So it's a knife. It's like a knife and a fork. And so the edges, they're not sharp, but it'll cut food. So I have a hard time getting both hands up to the plate to use a knife and a fork. And so this you can use, and if you use a teeter-totter motion, it'll cut food. And so that's really helpful. At home, I have a Nest thermostat in my room, so I can't reach the thermostat, but that way I can set the thermostat from my cell phone. I also have smart outlets to turn, I have plants, so I have lights for my plants, so I can turn those lights on and off. At work, I have a roller mouse, so I can't have my hands at a keyboard and then a mouse to the side. So a roller mouse sits in front of the keyboard, and it's got like a cylinder that you can roll back and forth, and so you can use that to use for a mouse. I have a strap that we made in bed, so once I get in bed, I can't roll over without help, but we have a strap that we made from strips of t-shirts that we tied together and tie on the bed, and so I can use that to roll over. At home, I sit in office chairs, and so I can slide around on those. We have hardwood floors at home, so I can scoot around in the house, and I can get closer to things than I can in my wheelchair. I also have table on wheels, like bed hospital tables, and so those I can get right up to, and then I can also move them around, and they're small, and so that's what I do a lot of my crafts on. In college, I needed book stands for my textbooks, and I couldn't find any, so I worked with my dad, and he built some for me. He found, I think they were like piano hinges and all this stuff so that he could make a heavy, because textbooks are heavy. You can't just use a little plastic book stand. And so he made one of those for me. And at home, we also have a soft toilet seat, so it's cushiony, so it's more comfortable to sit on. Yeah.
Boy, if that doesn't inspire you, right? 3 people living life, helping their children, 2 very independent adults. So that's its own standalone testimony, I think. It kind of makes me feel like what I'm about to say is insignificant, to be honest. So I always approach it as there's 3 steps to finding solutions. As soon as we get aggravated in our lives, and I think Jasmin talked about it, and Emma talked about it, and Kristi talked about it, of, the challenge arises, the limitation arises, and you get into solution mode. And you look first to see if a tool is already made. Amazon is great to look for things. And I want to emphasize that don't look for a reaching tool. Think about your limitation, and then look on the internet what might be used as a reaching tool. You can adapt it, and then if you can't find something and you can't adapt it, build it. Obviously, out of a cheerleading wand and a brush, right? Or PVC pipe. There's lots and lots of creative things. And I have to tell you, in 23 years of being involved in this community, I've seen the most inventive, creative, it's such an inspiring community when it comes to these kind of things, of the incredible inspiration to just live a quality life. So I'm all off my slides here, excuse me. So when a tool, you can't buy it, you can't adapt it, and you can't make it, look around you to just adapt your environment. Sometimes that is a solution, and I can talk to a little bit about that, or give you an example. Is if reaching is a problem and a reacher is not solving the problem, well, then look for narrow shelves. Kind of, I think, what Emma was saying with college. We did the same thing for Ian. We had lots of little narrow shelves so he could reach all sorts of things. Always research social media and see how other people within the FOP community have solved things. And I know Hope is going to come up and talk to you a little bit about how we're going to expand this whole program and bring it into a very current spot. And then I always think that the FOP community always needs to share their solutions, because I'll guarantee you, if you've had the challenge or your child's had the challenge, somebody else in the community has had the challenge. So I think I'm going to skip right over this, because I think the demonstration stuff goes better. So here are some of the tools that pictures I've gathered, and I think it was Jasmin, you said that the sink there was your dad built? Was that you? Yeah?
The the second photo.
She's checking with Mom. So here, if you see up in the top left corner, there's just a normal sink and a dowel rod and some foam over the handle. And Jasmine, or whoever this was, I think I got this about 10 years ago, is able to reach the faucet, not because the faucet's close to her, but because she has a tool, an adaptive tool, to pull the faucet towards her. That yellow puffy thing, and very similar to what Jasmine has, the hanger with the comb on it, are my son's showering tools. That's just a kitchen sponge on top of a hanger, and sawed off and then screwed on, and duct tape, screws, hangers, duct tape. They're our favorite things in our house. So I got the toothbrush, very much like Dr. Friedman was saying. This is an electric toothbrush with a dowel rod. So the person who was using this could not only brush their teeth, but also reach their toothbrush and pick it up. On the far right is a toileting tool, a wiping tool, and there's so many of those, and I know it's a kind of sometimes uncomfortable to talk about, but I have to tell you, the community, by and large, it's the hardest thing to talk about, and it's sometimes the most important tool to help your child or for some adult with FOP to have. And there's many, many different kinds and things that can adapt, and I have some examples of that up there. So my favorite are foam curlers from Walmart. And you'll see them in the bottom left-hand corner. And in the middle there, you'll see all those colorful things all bent. Those are foam curlers, and we just stick a toothbrush, a razor, there's a spoon. Lots of people put their makeup applicators in there and to reach their face. And of course, the scratcher, the all-important scratcher. Many, many different kinds. Jasmine shared with you the bamboo one. This is the one that my son prefers. It kind of has claws, so you can tell he's a real good scratcher. And then in the bottom right corner is a memory foam, and I have an example of that here. I'm going to just grab that. Can you grab that for me, Liz? Yep. So, believe it or not, I found this. It was a Bed Bath & Beyond, and also Home Depot. Go figure. I don't know. But just shopping one day and saw it, it actually has metal in it, so it actually bends and can hold some of its shape. So if you're supporting a limb or an arm or a wrist, it's just very, very usable. We actually have put this in between our son's legs when his legs were getting a little bit close. So just, it's very easy, but wasn't even looking for that. I didn't even have the limit. He didn't have the limitation to solve. It's just, I don't know. I'm a tool junkie. Okay. So the quintessential grab bar. I don't think you can have enough grab bars in your home. This is one that a lot of people say, well, you have backing. You have to have backing behind your tile to then install a grab bar, and then your child's reaching ability changes. So it's sometimes, I always say, if you're installing grab bars, install the longest grab bar you can find and give yourself lots of room to adjust to it. But this is actually a suction cup grab bar. So I think that this is a great one to travel with, so that when you're going and you're in a hotel shower and you need a grab bar in a very, very specific spot, that would be a great solution. Excuse me. So the middle photograph is something new to me, and my son had a bidet that actually, a washlet toilet that squirts water up, and he no longer can sit on the toilet. So we ended up installing this. It's a very easy install. You don't need a plumber. It hooks right onto the side of the toilet. And you can just clean yourself, spray yourself. Might not want this with little children, but you could try. And then, of course, the Go Spa, which we have examples of it here for not only traveling, but just a very, very easy solution at home. So in the bottom left-hand corner, this is kind of an interesting tool. Liz, I don't know if that made it up here. But this was a simple tool. Curtain rods, I guess, are a big thing in our house. This is a cheap curtain rod with duct tape with an L hook. And my husband made this so that Ian could close the car door by himself. So instead of me always closing the car door, it wasn't a big, limitation. It was easier, to be honest, to close the door for him, but it gave him an element of independence, which is really important. So thanks. So one of the other things is really important is I always have memory foam around the house, and one of those old electric carving knives works great on foam, works great on memory foam, and we're always seem to be cutting foam to make Ian comfortable. And my husband recently broke his leg, and the next thing I knew, the carving knife was coming out in the foam, and we're carving up all sorts of things. So it goes way beyond the child in our house that may need it. It extends to everyone. So these are things: duct tape, a block of memory foam, and some of the good old rubber rug no-slip pads I always have as a standby. So this is something that several people within the community have made. They have lift shoes for when, if their leg has ossified a little bit short. They have, and this is done through a professional. I would not suggest doing this on your own, but through a professional to have different height lift shoes. And this is also a picture of someone who has a wheelchair who really likes to have a table in front of her. And you can see how many of those little tools and things she's carrying around with her so that she doesn't have to ask someone, kind of like Emma was saying, don't have to ask anyone for my phone or whatever. These are like gadgets and things to have around you. I have an example down here of a bed and a transfer bar with a strap. And I think my sister would kill me if I asked her to lie down and demonstrate it for you. But you can see down here that this is a strap, and I think I have a mic on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'll just speak loud. That's a skill. So this is a transfer bar, and it has a big piece of plywood underneath the mattress. And you just put it on, and this certainly can assist someone in getting up out of bed. It's bought off the internet. I've seen people have the transfer bar on both sides of their bed, and then have a strap in between, so the person with FOP can actually pull themselves on their side, and then they can pull themselves back on their back. So see, Nancy, you wouldn't have to be scratching Steve's head if he had a tool. Let's get him a scratcher. And just since I'm down here, and I encourage you to come look at this, and this is some sports strap that I found, and I liked it because it was a little stiff, and so it allowed some easy pulling on it. Sometimes, parents have to help their children in bed and rotation and so forth, and so, for adults. And this is just an easy solution. Who was saying, Emma, it was you that had the silk sheet behind it? So this is a plastic tablecloth. This is just a plastic tablecloth, and it's underneath the sheet. And if you have kind of what we call a chuck, it helps to easily slide the sheet on the bottom sheet. So it just makes moving someone so much easier and less stressful for the caretaker. Oh, how do I go back? Does that go back? So the bottom left is that is a very fancy transfer lift, and that's something that you can get them kind of a standalone, as well as you can have them installed in the ceiling and transfer someone who is not mobile around their house. So that's a very, very fancy piece of equipment, but what's most important is the person that is in the transfer lift is the one that controls the movement. Exactly the speed they want and how they want to move. So some of my favorite is, and Liz, would you be able to get me these samples? So of course I know plastic straws are out of fashion, but some of the people in our community still really, really need straws. And what I really liked about this really long one that has the scissors next to it is it's about this long, and it can be cut to any length that you want. So the hemostats, if you can find them. Okay, and so then my other is, yeah, okay, that plate would be great. So many people I have found with FOP love to cook. And I found this plate that actually has spikes up in the middle of it, and it actually holds the item for food prep stationary. So you can put a steak here, a piece of chicken, whatever, to season it, to cut it. And it also has that important lip that Kristi was talking about that AJ uses. So it has a lip and something to hold food stationary on. Okay. The hemostats. Okay. Person with FOP, whose mom is an operating nurse. Can you tell she figured this one out? So these are surgical hemostats, and I found that you can actually purchase these online in just about every shape and size. And if you come up to the Resource Connect room on the 4th floor, we have a whole bunch of them. But this is easy for flossing. It locks into place, and you can eat with it. So it's just a very long device. Some people put makeup on with it. So they're just wonderful. They come in all sorts of sizes. They're hemostats. Yeah? Oh, Kristi's saying you can use it for toilet paper. Really? Okay, good. I love it. So I think especially for children, this is an all-important cup, I think. When children lose neck movement, they lose the ability to drink out of a cup a little bit because the rim of the cup hits them in the nose. So this way, if you start to drink from here and it is cut out, which of course you do not even have to buy a cup that is cut out. You can just buy a plastic cup and cut it out yourself. That when you drink, I'm going to just demonstrate, your nose, without glasses, can go right in and allow the cup to totally empty out. Okay? All right, just a few other tools. This is a wonderful teaspoon. This is a favorite tool in our house, and we've bent it at different angles as different times in life have required that. But that was a straight spoon. We didn't buy it this way, and then we just bend it. So that customization is really important. This is a nice, hefty foam extension handle, and you can just put about anything in it just to make it, oh, that looks a little floppy. Sorry, you have to push it in a little bit longer. But so, you can really use these kind of extension handles. Then this is another really important extension handle, and I think is the button hold. So this is something that is actually I bought online. It's a buttonhole, a button tool, and I think it's a really lousy button tool for buttoning your shirt. But if you cut the wire off, maybe we didn't bring it down, but it's up on the 4th floor. If you, oh, here it is. The wire is right here. So if you either cut the wire off or leave the wire here, and then you can put a utensil on there. This is, you can bend it into any kind of shape that you might need. So let me think if there's anything else. So the slacks that you see there have zippers on the legs, and that is for when a person's ankles have limited movement, and it's difficult to get narrow-legged pants on, so you just install zippers. This is a very fashionable guy in Australia that sent me these. Water picks, the foot scrub, so somebody can scrub their own foot. I think we have an example of that upstairs. And I think I'm just going to jump over to the table, if I can jump on this mic. So this is one of my new favorite tools, and this is sold as a extendable handle for a razor. But the fact is you can fit anything in that hole right there, and it actually comes with another adapted top, which allows you to put something bigger or thicker in that hole. And so I'm just using the example of a reacher and putting that in there. And just like Jasmine's dad adjusted the bend over time, you know, you might be able to use the scratcher this way, and then at some point this might be more comfortable, or that might be more comfortable. So this was for shaving your legs, and it can be adapted to use anything. Love, love, love this. This, for any of you who has door handles that are round door handles require a twisting of the wrist, which sometimes is hard. So this small little rubber thing fits over a standard round door handle and creates a lever door handle, which is much, much easier for someone with limited arm movement.
You know where you bought it?
Amazon. Amazon. Okay. So it's a hard thing to walk around my house on stairs in bare feet, because we found that we have a lot of painted stairs and they become slippery when they're wet. So I found this, again, a Home Depot or any kind of hardware store. This is an adhesive. It's just on the back, peel away, strip that is very, very rough and stops you from skidding or sliding on stairs. Can be installed, we've put it in the car, on the van, so the step into the van was not slippery when it was wet. Any time you need it, we've actually cut it and replaced the worn out on Ian's wheelchair, on the pedals. So a great supply to have around the house. Again, this was a device that I got because when Ian went off to college and lived in a dormitory, there was very little space for his things. And so in general, if you can think of it, a person with limited arm movement might have this kind of reaching capacity, reach here, right? So if you put what we call a lazy Susan, we fill it up with all sorts of things. This is still the area that they can reach, but now they have a lot of work surface to catch up on. So this was on our desk. This is in our bathroom. This is in our kitchen. There's like these kind of lazy Susans everywhere, and Ian rarely has to ask for help for anything. How are we doing, Hope, on time? Okay, I can kind of talk for 7 years about tools, so when I need to do a hard stop, you tell me, maybe 3 more minutes. I'll talk quick. Okay, So this is some sort of shelving caddy from Bed Bath & Beyond. And so when you are locked in the standing position and you no longer can sit at a table, if that should be the situation, it's nice to bring the table up to you, and that way you can go to restaurants, you can go to everybody else's house and still have this kind of work surface. It brings, you'll see some people with FOP have boxes and they've covered them and so forth, but this just brings it right up, and great for school and crafting. Emma, do you use anything like that?
No, I
No.
use the table on wheels because I can move that around.
Oh,
And
all right.
it's adjustable in height too. or
Yeah,
angle.
so Emma uses a table on wheels. So, okay, another favorite. It's really important when someone with FOP is struggling with perhaps a neck flare-up, regardless of the age, or any sort of stress in the neck. And it's often from trying to look down. So if there's a restriction and you're trying to look down to a surface, you bring the surface up higher. And often it's this angle that helps bring the work surface up. It reduces neck strain. It also brings the work surface closer to you. So if you have limited arm movement, it brings the work surface closer to you. And this is a sticky pad that is from Japan, also an Amazon purchase. And you can cut this sticky pad. You can put it on your wall. It does not take paint off, I promise. It doesn't take wallpaper off, and it doesn't take tile off. But you can, so you can put your cell phone. You can stick just about anything on here, and it'll stay. Yep, yeah, we have it on the wall, and so you can put your cell phone on it. So any kind of easy reaching, you can use this for tools. You know, we have tools throughout our entire home, and I have to tell you, it was hard at first. Ian didn't really want tools. So what we did is we just put the tools around and didn't do it as a big forcing, but it just became part of our lives. And before it, we all use reachers and things like that. So I'm going to stop there, but I encourage you to come up to the fourth floor, and Hope's going to talk to you next about bringing all these ideas together, and we can really build a resource if we work together for the entire community, internationally and beyond. Are there questions? Should I? Rico, of course. Yeah.
With all the adaptive equipment that you have up here, it's pretty overwhelming to get it to all sink in quite quickly for all of us to take back to our environment and try to make these changes. Will there be a gallery for us to view these with a simple explanation on the use? And will there be also a spot maybe in the future on one of these websites that we can possibly put up our own item and share for the future of, for everyone else?
You're lovely, Rico.
Kristi, did you plant him
Good
in the
job.
audience? I feel like that was the perfect segue.
Yes, yes. Are there any other questions before we go to that segue? Jesse, right?
So I may have missed this, but I was just wondering, has anyone come up with a solution to take clothing off of a clothes hanger? My friend recently got in an accident where he can't reach his clothes now, and we were trying to come up with a solution with a coat hanger, maybe that's spring-loaded, that you'd be able to pull your clothing off of the coat hanger or remove it off of a bar and then get the clothing back up there somehow. So I didn't know if there's like a spring-loaded idea or anything.
I'd like you to invent that, Jesse.
I already have like
and I'd like you to
an idea,
present
but-
that next year.
What's that? Yeah, I have a prototype. But
I will tell you that I don't know if you've ever gone to just a simple, the Bed Bath & Beyond store or whatever that has the slide-out shelves for like underneath the sink for all your sink items. I know many, many people have those in their homes, and they have them for their clothing. If you pull a shelf, you have a shelf here. Oh, well, this is kind of an example. So if this was a shelf, and you can pull this out here, you could just reach here, right? Well, if you pull it out, you can reach all of this work surface. So I know many people with FOP have these closets with all these pull-out shelves, so there's access to everything, but I don't think we really focused on the hangers. But Jasmine has a solution.
I use my reacher, this reacher, to like.
There you go.
I use this reacher to be able to grab the like the top part of the hanger, and I'm able to like grab, pull it, push it up. So like I grab it and I push it up, and then I'm able to so I'm like grabbing it,
Get it down.
and then take it off the rod in my closet. So sometimes I need that when I'm traveling. It's easy to be able to just grab the hanger with the reacher, and then put the clothes on it, and then put it back. So that's what I try. Yeah.
There you go. We already have a solution.
Some people have racks for dress pants, where they just drape the pants over. So something like that for at home could be an alternative to hangers, where you could just drape shirts over, pants over, and they slide in and out to you, like almost like a drawer, or even a drying rack that people use in laundry rooms that can fold down, and you can just drape clothes over instead of hanging them up.
Yeah, I can tell we're already in solution mode. I do want to say that Ralph, is it Ralph Lauren? Oh, Tommy Hilfiger has come out with an entire adaptive line of adaptive clothing. And these are pants that are all, the fly enclosure is all magnetic. This is a shirt of Ian's, and all of his jackets, his suit jackets, his winter jackets, and so forth, come apart. His arms are limited here, and we just install a zipper, and actually the front of it should be unbuttoned as well, but we can loop one arm in, and then loop another arm in, pull it up the back, and then zipper it. You cannot, I know AJ already uses this, you can't see the zipper at all. So there's a lot of solutions for adaptive clothing. Good.
Okay, if we could go back to the slides, that would be great. I'm a little lost right now. It's been a great conversation, but I feel so lucky to follow up this powerhouse pack of women. Amanda, myself, Kristi, and a young man named Brian Gonzales are the FOP.
Brian Harwell.
Oh, Brian Harwell, I'm sorry. Kristi Gonzales, Brian Harwell are the Resource Connect Working Committee. So you see these beautiful pop-up banners on the sides of the stage. Those are just one project that we've completed to help bring these resources to the community. But the next thing that we want to work on, or that we want to send out, is sort of a guidebook that would, as Rico mentioned, it would be nice, I think, for a lot of people to see in paper and not just hear about all these wonderful ideas, to be able to look through a book that kind of explains how can you use this tool in a variety of different ways, and where could you purchase it, and a description that gives you a little more information and digs a little deeper. So that is something we are working on, and we're really excited to create, but we feel like should be a community effort. Because as Amanda has shared, there's so much knowledge in all of you, and the more of that we can bring together and put in a resource that can be shared and accessed by everyone, the more everyone can benefit from that. So we wanted to take this opportunity when we were all together to get some feedback from you guys about this project. But one of the things that we do want to ask is, what tools do you find most helpful in your everyday life, and what adaptations have been important for your quality of life? So I'm sure that there is a very long list of ideas out there, and we want to open this up to really a discussion where you guys can feel free to share that information. I think everyone will learn about that now, but in interest of time, and that we only have about 5 minutes left, I would also suggest that if this is something you're passionate about and something that you want to volunteer a little of your time towards, put it in an email and send it to us, because that is something that we can continue to access. So you can email me, and my contact information is on lots of different things that you have in your folder, but is also on the IFOPA website. So for this question, I think if you have a list of tools, which I'm sure many of you do, we would love for you to send that to us. We have some specific questions about what you would like this guidebook to look like. So an organization called Cure Duchenne created a durable medical equipment guidebook. And they used this outline that you see on the screen, which is where they broke it up essentially by different areas of use. So mobility devices, home equipment, and they had bathing. Sorry, this is really little print.
It is little.
Different areas of the house. So we are wondering, if we were to create this Resource Connect guidebook, would you be interested in searching it by the area of the body that is restricted? So say, for instance, you had limited mobility in your arms or your shoulders. Would you want to be able to search by that area of the body, or would you be interested in learning of categories of tools by the activity or the area of home that they're in? So this is one of the questions that we're kind of posing to you, and I don't know if anyone has ideas about these things right now. I realize it may be something that you all would like to think about and consider, but we wanted to take that opportunity to pose. So if anyone has any suggestions, we're happy to hear them now. I think we have some over here. Sorry, Marie.
I just think area of body would be pretty good, because something that you use in the shower may work in the kitchen also. I saw this broken down by like bathing and that. So one tool may be universal in different development spots, but maybe a breakdown by development of body might be a little bit simpler to say it, instead of going to bathing and then you go over to like kitchen, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we've had those exact same thoughts, so I'm happy to hear that echoed. Steve had a question.
Kind of going in the Wayback Machine again, one of the things we'd done a few years ago was had started to build this as a database. So rather than trying to put anything in one particular category, the ability to catalog things and have them sortable by a variety of different mechanisms has a great deal of utility, as well as sticking them electronically and having them available through an interactive database on a website is a whole lot better than a printed guidebook that can become out of date really quickly.
So that is another excellent segue into the next question, which was, what is the best delivery method for this? So we acknowledge that some people are very they like to have something in hard copy they can highlight, they can take notes on. Other people want something that they can just search, and that is really easy and fast because time is limited. So that's another question that we actually had, and thank you, Steve.
We also have members of the community that are not online. So the international community that don't have access to computers and so forth. So I think we're looking for multidisciplinary type avenues for publication.
And one of the things we could do to split the difference is that, and I'll even volunteer to bring some resources to the table on that one, is if we build it electronically as a database, we can then run prints as PDFs that we can easily put to paper in any format, kind of automatic, and have an up-to-date custom print guidebook that's really printed literally on demand.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Chris is doing with the other book, with that is Bedford Gray.
For the school book.
Yeah, the school book.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it on
Digital format.
format, and then you can print it. So
Yeah.
you get both
Great.
Yeah.
in
great
one,
feedback.
just doing one.
Yeah.
Actually, to add one other point, it would actually also support some tools for automatic translation. If we had electronically that way, while not perfect, you could leverage some of the conversion tools to help with language translation as well.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Well, I know we are running out of time. One other thing we did want to access was you all saw a demonstration. Amanda, showed you the bed. She's used and shown you some of the tools. So after the family gathering is over, you will receive a survey from us, an email, and we would greatly appreciate it if you could go into that survey and tell us give us feedback on that, because if that's something that's really helpful, we want to bring that to other family gatherings that are happening in other countries. So your feedback is really critical for that as well.
And one of the things that Hope has been collecting is some of the community members have been bringing videos, sending us videos, just iPhone videos of however they're using a tool at home or their adaptions. So if you don't want to write it up, you don't want to put it in an email, take a picture of it and send us the picture. We'll figure it out.
Exactly. Thank you.
A lot of the tools that you have, either private insurance companies, or if you're on Medicare, Medicaid will pay for it. So opposed to being out of pocket first, insurance companies in this day and age will pay for adaptive equipment. Something that you guys didn't, I know it's tools, but I think it's important to hire attendants. I think that's really important for no matter what you are, to learn how to hire attendants at a young age. Because our parents are going to be around forever. As far as we can't depend on our parents the rest of our lives, no matter how old we are. You know, for 50, we still live at home. When our parents die, then what? We need to learn how to advocate and hire attendants on our own, not have our caregivers or our family members hire. But we need to learn how to advocate for ourselves to hire caregivers, part-time, full-time, wherever it may be, because you don't want to get to the point where you need a full-time caregiver, and then you have to hire someone, and you have to realize you're dependent on someone to do everything for you. So
Yeah.
I've been on my own since I was
couldn't
18.
agree with you more, Jessica. I think that that's really a resource that we need to build. And I just know that Hope is passionate about all of this. We're all passionate about it. I promise you'll be getting an email or a phone call. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Well, thank you all for being open to this conversation. And like I said, if this is something that you're passionate about, definitely connect with us, because we would love for this to be a community effort. So.
Yeah. Thank you to panel members. Thank you.